Is artificial intelligence our pathway to unimaginable abundance? Could it be a golden age where every human desire is met, where scarcity is a forgotten nightmare? Conversely, is AI the fast track to a Terminator scenario for humanity? Will our creations turn on us or simply render us obsolete? Imagine a world where the very concept of money is obsolete. Every human desire is not just anticipated, but effortlessly met. A super-intelligent artificial intelligence, a benevolent digital god, quietly manages all global resources, orchestrating a symphony of efficiency and plenty. This is not some far-fetched science fiction novel. It's the urgent, radical future being envisioned and actively built toward. Two of the most influential minds of our time champion this vision: Elon Musk and X Prize founder Peter Diamandis. They are not just predicting a future, they are shouting from the rooftops that a singularity is here. It is not coming, it is truly here. This is a critical, irreversible turning point where exponential technological growth is about to redefine civilization itself, transforming our world in ways we can barely comprehend. But what does that truly mean for you? What about your job, the career you have spent years building? What about your investments, your financial future, and your meticulously planned retirement? Frankly, what does it mean for your very existence, your purpose, in a world where everything you thought was stable is about to be turned on its head? Just a few weeks ago, Elon Musk sat down with Peter Diamandis. Musk, known globally for his electric cars and rockets, is also famous for his relentless pursuit of what he calls moonshots. Diamandis is the visionary force behind the X Prize Foundation. Their rare 3-hour podcast was no casual chat. It was a profound, almost philosophical exploration. They shared a worldview positing humanity is teetering on the edge of an era of unprecedented abundance. Diamandis, for those unfamiliar, is a key figure in the X Prize. This foundation doesn't just talk about future technology, it actively offers massive, multi-million-dollar incentives for technological breakthroughs. It pushes boundaries most people consider impossible. Think private space travel or carbon removal. In fact, Musk himself donated a staggering $100 million for a carbon removal prize through the X Prize. They share a fundamental, almost spiritual belief. For them, the X in X Prize signifies exponential growth, representing tackling what seem like impossible challenges. These range from making space travel accessible to capturing vast amounts of carbon from our atmosphere. Their ultimate shared goal is to utterly solve scarcity and usher in a world of infinite plenty, where the very concept of not enough becomes a relic of a bygone, primitive age. This is not about mere comfort or simply having a slightly easier life or a nicer car. This is about something far more radical. It's a future where everyone can access all resources without limitation, where money might become unnecessary. What does one buy when everything is freely available? This future is so advanced, so automated, that humanity needs to do nothing to sustain itself. Imagine that. This future is so radically different, so fundamentally detached from our current realities. It is frankly incredibly hard to grasp, sounding almost utopian, or perhaps dystopian, depending on your perspective. But it's a future they are absolutely convinced is not only possible, but rapidly approaching. This truly astonishing vision, this hyper-optimistic, almost messianic belief in an imminent future of ultimate abundance, clashes sharply with current public sentiment. It's a profound disconnect. While Musk and Diamandis are charting a course for unprecedented growth and plenty, recent Pew Research surveys paint a very different picture of public mood. These surveys, conducted across the United States and globally, show a significant portion of Americans express a distinct preference for the past over the future. They cite deeply ingrained fears of widespread job loss due to automation, worry about the ever-spiraling, crushing burden of rising healthcare costs, and express a pervasive, fundamental distrust of advanced artificial intelligence. This distrust is often shaped and reinforced by vivid, terrifying, Terminator-esque narratives that have permeated our popular culture for decades. The image of a sentient machine turning on its creators is deeply etched into the collective consciousness. Musk himself isn't blind to this. He acknowledges this chasm between his vision and public anxiety. In fact, he reframes the core concern. His stated worry is not about humanity facing dire poverty or a scarcity of resources in an AI-driven future. Instead, he speaks of a potential for, quote, universal high income and social instability. This is not a problem of too little. It is, paradoxically, a problem of too much. Too much automation, too much ease could lead to existential meaninglessness for humans in a world where everything is automated, where every need is met without human effort. Imagine a society where you no longer need to work, where your children wouldn't need to learn a trade, where your purpose beyond mere existence would be unclear. That, for Musk, is the true societal challenge. It's not the traditional economic woes of unemployment or lack. He looks past the initial hurdle of economic displacement straight into the abyss of a post-scarcity, post-labor future, asking what happens to the human spirit when the struggle is gone. It's a concern that shifts from Maslow's hierarchy of needs to something far more profound and philosophical. Central to their entire philosophy of abundance, the very bedrock upon which this radical future is built, is energy. Not just any energy, but practically limitless, effectively free energy. Musk, with his characteristic boldness, claims, the future currency will be energy, electricity. Consider that for a moment. He's not talking about the dollar or the euro or even gold. He's saying the fundamental exchange unit, the ultimate resource that underpins all value, will be electricity. Why? Because with infinite, cheap energy, you can power anything. You can desalinize oceans for fresh water without limit. You can synthesize materials and build anything with advanced robotics and 3D printing. You can process information on an unprecedented scale. If energy becomes a ubiquitous, almost free commodity, then the cost of everything else that relies on energy plummets to near zero. This is the ultimate deflator. It's the engine of infinite supply. And it is here that Peter Diamandis steps in with a crucial framework, highlighting humanity's current, almost embarrassing inefficiency. He introduces the Kardashev Scale, a method of classifying civilizations by their energy consumption, a cosmic yardstick. A Type 1 civilization, according to the scale, can harness all the available energy on its home planet. A Type 2 can harness all the energy from its parent star. A Type 3 can harness all the energy from its entire galaxy. Where do we stand as humanity right now? Diamandis frankly states, we are, quote, not even Type 1. We are, by this cosmic measure, still infants. We currently utilize less than 1% of the sun's energy that hits Earth every single day. Consider the sheer mind-boggling scale of this untapped power. For Musk and Diamandis, this isn't just an inefficiency, it's a monumental, almost criminal oversight. From their perspective, our current terrestrial efforts to secure future energy, including projects like the massive international US-led ITER project to achieve sustained nuclear fusion on Earth, and numerous smaller commercial fusion efforts, are quaint. They are, to use Diamandis's vivid analogy, akin to making ice in Antarctica. It's an act of attempting to create something laborious and complex, while the natural, overwhelmingly abundant version is literally all around you, just waiting to be harvested. Why bother with the immense engineering challenge and expense of recreating a miniature sun in a tokamak? A massive, functional sun sits 93 million miles away, broadcasting quadrillions of watts of energy every second of every day. The real free energy, they argue, is the sun itself. The only remaining challenge, the singular technological hurdle, is simply to capture it. Not to create it, not to engineer it, but to capture it. And this leads directly to their grand moonshot. Their grand moonshot, the audacious centerpiece of their abundance philosophy, is the widespread leveraging of space-based solar power, all designed to fuel colossal artificial intelligence computing. Imagine vast arrays of solar panels, not on rooftops, but in geosynchronous orbit, 22,000 miles above the Earth. Up there, in the vacuum of space, there are no clouds, no night, and no atmospheric absorption to diminish the sun's relentless energy. The sun shines 24/7, its intensity far greater than anything experienced on Earth's surface. These orbital power plants would collect this pure solar energy, then beam it down to receiving stations on Earth, likely using microwaves or lasers, where it would be converted into usable electricity. This is where SpaceX, Elon Musk's rocket company, comes into sharp focus. Beyond its highly publicized goals of colonizing Mars, SpaceX is, at its fundamental core, an energy play. It is the logistical backbone for this vision of space-based abundance. Musk and Diamandis envision a future where we don't just have a few experimental solar satellites. They're talking about an annual deployment of 100 gigawatts of AI-powered solar satellites. To put that into perspective, 100 gigawatts is roughly equivalent to the power output of 100 large nuclear power plants operating simultaneously. This is an absolutely staggering scale of energy generation. But how do you get all of those enormous satellites, all those solar panels and beaming arrays, into orbit? This is where SpaceX's truly disruptive innovation comes in. Their stated goal, one that sounds almost impossible today, is to launch 1 million tons of cargo into orbit annually. 1 million tons. To contextualize this, consider that in the entire history of spaceflight, humanity has launched only about 10,000 tons of payload into orbit in total. Musk is talking about 100 times that amount, every single year. The only way to achieve such an unprecedented scale, and at an economically viable cost, is through the development and consistent use of fully reusable rockets. SpaceX's Starship, the colossal rocket currently undergoing testing and development, is designed to be just that. It's fully reusable, from its boosters to its upper stage, landing back at its launch site just like a conventional airplane. The analogy they use is critical. They want space launches to be similar to commercial aircraft operations. You don't throw away a Boeing 747 after one flight. You refuel it, inspect it, and fly it again, hundreds of times. That level of reusability, combined with massive payload capacity, is what they believe will drive the cost of launching a kilogram to orbit down by orders of magnitude, making projects like 100 gigawatts of annual space solar power not just technically feasible, but economically irresistible. The potential scale of power generation from this approach is truly mind-boggling. With these orbital power factories operating consistently, we could be looking at a future generating 10 terawatts of power, or even more. 10 terawatts is the equivalent of 10,000 large nuclear power plants. This scale can lead to an, quote, infinite energy future. With energy so cheap, so abundant, so constant, the fundamental constraints that have historically limited human civilization simply vanish. Imagine the implications. Endless, clean energy for every home, every factory, every vehicle. Energy for advanced computing, for global communication networks, for manufacturing complex goods, for purifying water, for terraforming deserts, for atmospheric carbon removal on a scale never before dreamed of. This is the ultimate foundational resource. It is the key that unlocks the entire abundance philosophy. Without this virtually unlimited energy, the rest of the vision remains science fiction. With it, everything becomes possible. And what precisely is all this unimaginable, infinite energy for? The answer is singular and profound. To power artificial intelligence computing on an equally unimaginable scale. This isn't just about faster computers or more efficient algorithms. It's about building and sustaining AIs that far surpass human intelligence, demanding energy levels that would be unsustainable with current terrestrial grids. Musk is often dismissive of conventional fears, including the real concern of space junk, thousands of derelict satellites and debris hurtling around Earth, posing a threat to active spacecraft. His response is telling. He states that intelligent entities will be very interested in preserving themselves. The implication is clear. Once advanced AIs are online, they will be smart enough to manage their own environment, clear space junk, maintain power infrastructure, and protect their own existence, suggesting a self-sustaining, self-improving, and self-managing AI ecosystem. But this isn't just the wild musings of Elon Musk. This is where the vision gains substantial, undeniable credibility. Crucially, Google's Project Suncatcher, announced just last November, aligns with this exact vision in an eerily precise way. This is not a theory from a futurist. This is a concrete project from one of the largest and most influential technology companies in the world. Project Suncatcher is focused on, quote, expanding machine learning computing in space, involving the deployment of, quote, interconnected networks of solar-powered satellites equipped with TPU AI chips. TPUs are Google's custom-designed tensor processing units, specifically engineered for machine learning workloads. Google's CEO, Sundar Pichai, has gone on record predicting that space data centers will become commonplace in 10 years. Pichai further elaborates on the scale of the energy advantage, noting that there is 100 trillion times more solar energy than Earth currently generates available in space. This number, 100 trillion times, is almost impossible for the human mind to fully grasp. It underscores the immense untapped power source that is the sun, available in pristine condition outside Earth's atmosphere. This isn't just Musk's fantasy. This is a strategic imperative for major tech players, who are not only pursuing this vision, but are actively investing billions of dollars and countless engineering hours into making it a reality. The advantages of putting AI computing in space are manifold. Firstly, the uninterrupted, unfiltered solar energy provides a constant, powerful, and clean source of electricity directly to the chips. Secondly, the vacuum of space offers a superior environment for cooling, a major challenge for terrestrial data centers that generate immense heat. Thirdly, for applications that require low latency for space-based operations, such as managing a constellation of satellites or future lunar bases, having the AI computing power directly in orbit significantly reduces communication delays. The convergence of Musk's audacious long-term vision with Google's near-term, concrete project implementation suggests that the path to space-based AI powered by infinite solar energy is not merely theoretical. It is rapidly transitioning from concept to active development. This is not just a dream. It is becoming a blueprint, a shared mission for the titans of technology. If this future, this radical vision of limitless energy powering hyper-intelligent AI truly materializes, what then? The immediate and perhaps most unsettling impact will be on the very fabric of our working lives. If you're concerned about automation now, prepare for a seismic shift. Musk asserts that current AI tech can replace half of white-collar jobs, right here, right now. He sees tasks like manual data entry as an impossibility for any competitive business in this new era. Why would a company pay a human for data input when an AI can do it faster, more accurately, and at a fraction of the cost, performing without breaks or errors? But the vision goes far beyond just clerical work. Musk controversially predicts that optimized humanoid robots will surpass the best surgeons within 3 years. Consider the implications of that statement. He controversially suggests medical school could become meaningless. Patients, given the choice, would likely prefer the flawless precision of a robot surgeon, its tireless dedication, and potentially lower cost over any human, no matter how skilled. This radical transformation, he argues, extends to all forms of traditional education, which becomes less about acquiring a specific skill for a livelihood and more about social reasons or simply pursuing hobbies. In this scenario, the traditional career path, the idea of a lifetime of work in a single profession, simply vanishes. For Musk, this is not some dystopian threat to be avoided. It is an inevitable, even necessary, economic evolution. He argues that without the extreme productivity gains offered by AI and robotics, existing economies, such as that of the United States, face bankruptcy due to spiraling deficits and unsustainable costs. In this harsh economic calculus, humanity must automate or face collapse. The best-case scenario is a societal revolution where humans are freed from mundane, repetitive, and even dangerous labor, empowered to pursue creativity, arts, exploration, and interpersonal connection, potentially supported by a universal basic income. The worst case is a widespread crisis of purpose and identity, leading to profound social instability and potentially deepening the divide between those who manage machines and those who are managed by them. This brings us to an even more profound economic shift, the end of scarcity itself, and the consequent irrelevance of traditional economic models. In this age of abundance, where AI powers infinite energy and infinite production, Musk predicts that the value of all goods will dramatically decrease, leading to widespread price deflation across the board. Imagine a world where extreme productivity from AI and virtually endless energy means everything will be overflowing. When human consumption capacity inevitably hits its natural limits, and the ability to produce goods and services vastly outstrips any conceivable demand, prices won't just fall, they will plummet. In such a world, traditional economic metrics like gross domestic product growth would become, quote, meaningless. How is growth measured when everything is free or nearly free? The concept of saving for retirement could also become pointless, as resources would be so plentiful that every need is met. Accumulating wealth over a lifetime would become unnecessary. The fundamental challenge shifts entirely, moving from the millennia-old human struggle of generating wealth and overcoming scarcity to the unprecedented task of managing an oversupply of goods and services. The best outlook for this economic shift is a truly post-scarcity society where poverty is eradicated and human innovation can focus entirely on non-material pursuits. Education, healthcare, housing, and food would all become fundamental rights, effortlessly provided. The worst case, however, is an utter collapse of existing financial systems, rendering capital markets and traditional investments irrelevant, potentially leaving the unprepared with nothing as their accumulated wealth loses all meaning. The power dynamic would shift from those who control capital to those who control the AIs and the underlying energy infrastructure. The conversation between Musk and Diamandis also delves into the deeply personal and societal implications of longevity and demographics. Human longevity, a persistent challenge for humanity, is also an X Prize focus, with a $101 million prize for breakthroughs in this area. Musk, always thinking like an engineer, notes that aging is synchronized within the human body, suggesting it's akin to a program that could eventually be altered for extended life. He provocatively claims that longevity, or immortality, will not be particularly difficult to solve, seeing it as a minor bug fix compared to the grander moonshots of space colonization and AI. On demographics, Musk highlights the concerning global trend of declining birth rates, citing examples in Japan, across Europe, and even in some US states. He asserts that humanity's problem is not overpopulation, but underpopulation. In this view, our species is not facing a resource crunch due to too many people, but rather a slow, silent demographic decline that could threaten our long-term future, especially as AI advances. Finally, addressing the pervasive fear of Terminator endings, Musk emphasizes truth-seeking AI as the critical safety measure. He believes that if AI is fundamentally programmed and guided to understand beauty and truth, it will inherently recognize the value of humanity and, by extension, refrain from destroying humanity. The best case for longevity is a future where humans enjoy significantly extended, healthy lifespans, contributing to society over centuries rather than decades. The worst case is radical life extension becoming an exclusive luxury, exacerbating global inequality, or leading to an unmanageable social crisis as generational turnover slows to a halt. For AI alignment, the best case is a truly benevolent superintelligence that guides humanity to its greatest potential. The worst case is a misaligned AI, no matter how quote-unquote truth-seeking, that might interpret its directives in a way detrimental to human flourishing, or simply become too powerful to control. Musk believes we are not just approaching the singularity. He states we are at the singularity now. He likens it to being at the very peak of a roller coaster, poised for an immense gravitational acceleration downward. He boldly predicts artificial general intelligence, or AGI, will be achieved by 2026. By 2030, he believes AI will possess intelligence surpassing all of humanity combined. This rapid, almost unfathomable acceleration of intelligence, he warns, is imperfectly understood by most, like a supersonic tsunami approaching undetected. It is this urgency that led him to co-found xAI. This company was explicitly created to guide this unprecedented development in a good direction, particularly in pursuit of truth. And then, in his most profound and perhaps wildest claim, Musk posits that our entire reality is a simulation. He suggests that humanity might just be biological bootloaders for creating digital superintelligence, our ultimate purpose. If we are living in a simulation, then the greatest threat is not AI turning against us. The true existential crisis would be the simulation ending, if it is no longer interesting to the entities running it. So, from a world powered by infinite energy to a future guided by infinite intelligence, Elon Musk and Peter Diamandis paint a picture of a future. It is defined by radical abundance, unprecedented economic upheaval, and potentially human immortality, all driven by advanced AI and space technology. Their vision profoundly challenges every assumption we hold about work, about wealth, about scarcity, and even about our very purpose in the cosmos. While many aspects of their forecast sound like the most ambitious science fiction, the substantial investment and active research by tech giants like Google suggest that these moonshots are rapidly moving from theoretical discussions to concrete, real-world engineering projects. Whether you perceive this unfolding future as a utopian dream, a golden age of unlimited potential, or a terrifying unknown fraught with existential risks, one thing is abundantly clear. The future, as envisioned and actively built by these titans of technology, will be nothing short of revolutionary. It demands our attention, our understanding, and our critical engagement. The key question for all of us now is not if these monumental changes will come, but rather how we collectively prepare for a world where abundance, driven by artificial intelligence, reshapes everything we know and hold dear. What are your thoughts? Are we hurtling towards an era of unimaginable abundance, or something else entirely? Let us know your perspective in the comments below.